A friend of mine, an actual sports scientist, once told me the saddest sentence I've ever heard about football. By minute 105, the data doesn't care how much you want it. I support Ajax, so I have personally watched a lot of extra time, and I always assumed the guys visibly dragging themselves around the pitch in the 118th minute were just tired in the normal human sense. Turns out there's a whole tracking system built specifically to measure exactly how tired, and it tells a much more brutal story than tired. Here's the actual topic. Teams now use GPS trackers sewn into player kits to measure fatigue in real time, and what they consistently show is that legs give up on a predictable schedule, way before hearts do. The player's motivation doesn't drop. His decision-making does, because his body stops being able to keep up with what his brain is asking it to do. That's the point almost nobody outside a sports science department understands, and it's exactly backwards from how commentators talk about extra time, which is always, he just needs to dig deeper, as if fatigue were a mood. Let's do this properly, myth by myth. Myth 1. A tired player is being lazy or mentally checked out. Wrong. And this is the one that gets shouted at televisions constantly. GPS units worn under player jerseys record data hundreds of times per second, tracking distance covered, sprint speed, and acceleration. Studies using this kind of tracking have found things like an 11% drop in exertion per minute from the first quarter of a match to the last, in sports that track this closely. The player isn't choosing to slow down. His high-speed running distance is physically declining while his effort, measured by how hard he's trying, stays roughly the same. He's pushing just as hard into a body that's returning less. Myth 2. Extra time is just more of the same, but longer. Also wrong. Regulation time and extra time are basically two different physiological events wearing the same jersey. By the time a match reaches the 90th minute, most players have already covered around 10 to 12 kilometers, and the majority of that ground is covered well below top speed, meaning the sprint capacity that's left is thin and getting thinner. Extra time asks players to find bursts of high intensity running from a tank that was already running low before the added 30 minutes even started. That's part of why the rules eventually allowed a fourth substitution specifically for extra time, because sports scientists could show, with actual tracking numbers, that decision-making quality collapses on a schedule that has nothing to do with how much a player wants to win. Myth 3. And this is the one that embarrassed me in front of an entire group chat during a Champions League extra time period. He's given up and his legs have given up are not the same sentence, even though commentators use them interchangeably. Tracking data draws a clean line between the two. A player's willingness stays intact. What breaks down is neuromuscular output, the actual electrical signal getting from his brain to his legs fast enough to produce the same sprint speed he had in minute 10. I said, he's mentally checked out about a midfielder in extra time once, watching him jog back on defense instead of sprinting. The tracking numbers released after that match showed his sprint distance had fallen off a cliff exactly on schedule, right when the data always predicts it will, regardless of the player, the club, or how much that player supposedly wants to win a trophy. This is the part that actually reframes the whole thing. Fitness trackers don't just record what already happened, they now predict it. Coaches can watch a player's decline curve building in real time and know, almost to the minute, when his sprint speed is about to fall below a threshold where mistakes start happening, well before commentators notice him look gassed. That's why the extra fourth substitute rule exists at all. It's not a mercy for tired legs. It's a direct response to data proving that heart has never been the variable that runs out first in extra time. It's always the legs, on a schedule the tracker saw coming an entire half hour before anyone in the stands did. So next time a commentator says a player looks like he's lost his desire in extra time, translate that properly. What actually happened is his GPS chip logged the exact minute his legs stopped being able to cash the checks his heart kept writing. He wanted it exactly as much in minute 119 as he did in minute 1. His hamstrings just stopped RSVPing to the request.